All right, today we're going to tackle one of philosophy's most, well, explosive and honestly misunderstood thinkers, Friedrich Nietzsche. You got to understand, Nietzsche didn't write for dusty old lecture halls. No, this guy wrote with a stick of dynamite.
So one of his last books has this incredible subtitle, How to Philosophize with a Hammer. And no, he wasn't just talking about smashing things for the fun of it. Think of the hammer more like a tuning fork. He wanted to tap on all the big ideas, the huge idols of Western thought, things like morality, religion, truth itself. He wanted to hear which ones rang true and which ones were totally hollow, just waiting to shatter.
So really, the best way to think about him isn't just as a philosopher. He's more like a cultural physician, or maybe a demolitions expert. I mean, he looked out at Europe in his time and basically saw a whole civilization built on a foundation that was just completely rotting away. He was convinced this massive crisis was coming, and man, he was trying to sound the alarm.
And his diagnosis? Well, it all started with three of the most famous, and maybe most misunderstood, words in all of philosophy. God is dead.
Now you have to understand, when Nietzsche wrote this, it wasn't some triumphant shout. It was a terrified whisper. What he meant was that the belief in God, the very bedrock that had held up Western meaning, morality, and purpose for 2,000 years, was just gone. It had become unbelievable. And with it gone, all that's left is this terrifying void. Think about it. We killed the source of all our values. So what now?
In that void, it has a name: nihilism. I mean, if God is dead, then the ultimate source for all our morality is just gone. Suddenly, everything we thought of as good or evil, right or wrong, completely loses its foundation. It's like we're just adrift in a meaningless universe where nothing really matters. For Nietzsche, this was the absolute greatest danger facing humanity.
So this got Nietzsche thinking. He asked this really radical question. If our whole moral foundation could crumble that easily, where did it actually come from in the first place? And that's when he picked up his hammer again, ready to do some digging into the origins of our most basic values.
And his investigation, it led him to a really startling conclusion. He realized that our whole idea of what good means wasn't just one thing. It was actually two completely different systems, what he called master versus slave morality.
Okay, so according to Nietzsche, we've got our whole idea of morality completely backwards. He saw these two opposing systems. On one hand, you have master morality. This is from the powerful, the ancient nobles. They just looked at themselves, strong, proud, creative, and said, yep, this is good. Anything weak or common was just bad, simple. But then you get slave morality. This came from the oppressed, the weak, who are filled with resentment, and they totally flipped the script. They looked at the masters and said, oh no, your strength, your pride, that's evil. And our suffering, our humility,